Malala Yousafzai said, "Education is education. It is neither Eastern nor Western. It is human." The subject of the girl child has been discussed over many generations, yet is a topic that is still very relevant. I personally am lucky to be born into a family that does not differentiate between a boy and a girl. And I also come from an Indian culture where boys are typically favored over girls, where there are certain taboos like divorce, menstruation, and women drinking or smoking, just to name a few. But these, however, are not just limited to the Indian culture. They are seen in many other cultures all over the world. That said, I am not here to talk about social norms and taboos. I am here to talk about the importance of educating the girl child. Now, who is the girl child and what is education, you may ask? We all know who a girl child is. A girl child is a child under the age of 18 and is obviously female. And what about education? Every one of us in this room is either educated or receiving an education that will hopefully open up a world of opportunities and power of choice. But not everyone in this world is as privileged as us. Even today, millions of children are denied the most basic of primary and secondary education. Since 2012, the 11th of October is celebrated as the International Day of the Girl Child, a whole day dedicated to remind us of the inequalities that still exist, but also to celebrate the successes of educating the girl child. According to UN Women, just 39% of girls in rural areas attend secondary school. Women make up more than 2/3 of the world's 760 million illiterate people. And globally, 65 million girls are not in school as of now. That is higher than the entire population of Kenya. These statistics are shocking, to say the least. Let's go back half a century. My grandmother married at the age of 17 and had her first child at 18. She did not get a formal education. She learned English by reading and picking up a few words from watching TV. She wanted to learn English because she understood the importance of education in empowering women. In climbing up the socioeconomic ladder, she wanted to provide her daughters with more of a choice in their futures than to become homemakers. Fortunately, she married a university graduate who also understood the importance of education. So, here I stand. But what bothers me is that even today, many girls still cannot get the opportunity for education because of early marriage. This is still one of the leading issues as to why girls cannot get educated. They happen in all parts of the world. We may think that it only happens to girls in developing countries, but it also happens to girls in North America and Europe, though the highest rates of girls getting married off under the age of 18 are in Niger at 76% and Central African Republic and Chad both at 68%. Why can't all girls get an education? This is a question I recently asked myself. In my naivety, I thought that everyone gets an education. But through the same education, I learned that not everyone has a chance to go to school. There are many reasons as to why girls cannot get educated, the most common being lack of funding. Others include religious or traditional beliefs, or simply being a girl who is not seen to be worthy of an education. In some countries, families with limited funds would rather educate their sons and not their daughters. Pregnancy, violence towards girls at schools, dangerous journeys to schools, and poor sanitation also limits access to education. In fact, many adolescent girls who are menstruating don't go to school because of lack of privacy, poor sanitation, and water shortages. So, why is it important to educate the girl child? Globally, it helps tackle child marriage and trafficking, premature death due to teenage pregnancies, and the spread of HIV. According to avert.org, if all girls had a secondary school education, then in sub-Saharan Africa and south and west of Asia, child marriage rates would fall by 64% from almost 2.9 million. Girls with at least 8 years of education are 4 times more likely to educate their own children. 9 years of education can enable them to earn 20% more as adults. That brings me to the economic benefits of educating girls. Educated girls go on to become educated women, with increased chances of employment, and thus can contribute to their country's economy. Educated women are more likely to educate their own children. A child born to a mother who can read and write is 50% more likely to live past the age of 5, thus decreasing infant mortality rates. According to UNICEF, if increasing girl education has a direct impact in increasing a country's GDP. An example of this is in Pakistan, where working women with higher literacy skills earn 95% more than women with weak literacy skills. Educated women are more likely to escape poverty and lead healthier and empowered lifestyles. They are more likely to escape abusive partners, giving abused, battered women a choice to live a better life. Everything I have discussed has been well documented within the last decade. So, what is the solution? Governments that are creating funds for educating girls have raised literacy skills amongst them. World charities and NGOs working in local communities have shown that raising awareness amongst community and religious leaders has helped empower girl education. Therefore, we should all advocate for the education of the girl child and champion policies that help fund for educational opportunities for the girl child. Thank you.